So I don't have a super scientific definition, but it's trying to meet the needs of kids who struggle as a result of some form of trauma.
Working with students with disabilities such as PTSD, anxiety.
If a child has gone through this, they're not going to be learning. They're someplace else.
It's a whole new way of looking at the child behavior and how trauma impacts them. When we first had the large in-service at Drexelbrook, we did a lot of talking about teachers, the trauma that we have in our lives, and how we react to student behavior. We learned to think about where is this child right now that I'm dealing with in their brain.
We have so many students that have experienced very traumatic situations in their homes or otherwise, and so they often react in their brainstem.
You're looking at somebody who should be acting like a 14-year-old, but emotionally, because of what's gone on, they're like 6.
And I started to realize this is work that we need to do with our kids.
That's kind of where we came in with this training and working with children who are working with different parts of their brain, and you learn kind of the signals of when a child needs a break. You see them kind of moving around, itching.
Sometimes you just need to stop. I mean, nothing is working.
And you can just, as an educator, see like, okay, if that child needs a break, then there's probably 5 other children that also need a break.
By understanding how those systems work, we have different activities that we can do that tries to help them get higher up in their brainstem.
Sometimes implementing one of those things is helpful.
I have a few children who have some difficulty sometimes controlling their emotions, and a lot of times if you just get them and go, okay, breathe, and you do it with them, and they start to calm down. And now it's grown to where now I do guided meditation with them. We do visualizations. And so I tied all of this in, and I always tell them they have their breathing with them all the time. So they can always stop, take a breath if they need to.
It's very hard for kids to stay focused for long periods of time, whether you're, lecturing, demonstrating, whatever you're doing. So we could do brain breaks.
There's different types of brain breaks too. There's some for energy, there's some for calming.
I love the gross motor challenges, which sometimes cause a lot of chaos in the room at first, and it releases energy for them, and so sometimes that really helps them to come back and refocus.
I like to do stretching ones because oftentimes in my art classes we're focused on making art and working kind of hunched over. So we would stand up, raise your arms, breathe.
Anything can really be a brain break to students as long as you get their focus out of what you're doing, just to use those different parts of the brain so they're not always just focused on the upper layer but also working on those lower layers too.
One of the ways I've implemented trauma-informed care is the zone of regulations. I have a folder over on the door, and the zones are colored in over there: blue zone, green zone, yellow zone, red zone. Students recognize, after I've gone through and taught this to them, when they come in, if they're in a yellow zone or a green zone, they're good to go. But, and maybe even yellow too, they just might need something to calm them down, and they might grab for a little bit of Play-Doh. I had fidgets on the table and they would just come in and take them. We use the bicycles. On the bottom of this chair right now is a kick. If they are high energy or they are feeling nervousness, they just kick. I didn't start out with the basket. I didn't start out with all of these different things. I started out with one of these, and once I taught them how to self-regulate it, it has made a difference. This has eliminated a lot of fights that could have happened in my classroom because students were able to separate, calm themselves down, determine whether or not it was something that they needed help with.
And I think it definitely builds relationships between the students and the teacher because you're laughing together and you're talking about this, and it's not just what's in the book.
Every student can benefit from it, not just students who are diagnosed, but also any student who might have been struggling, having a bad morning, or had an argument, or worried about what they're going to go home to at the end of the day.
You just don't know what everybody is going through on any given level, at any given time. Just that little bit of extra. It's made my classroom a happy place. The students loved coming in here to learn because they knew if they were carrying something, sometimes this was the place where they would at least get a little bit of relief from whatever anxieties they were carrying on that day.
That's really what we want. We just want kids to be successful and productive, Even in art, many of them aren't going to go be artists, but they can incorporate this into their lives.
It's not that I'm just doing it right there in class and that's it. they use it throughout their day. And that's what I really focus on, is like, use it whenever you need to, use it when you can.
Anything that'll help engage our kids and bring a bit of civil discourse and caring and improving their life and our lives as we take this journey together is really what I'm all about.